Hello and welcome back to the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? What's going on? How's the new home? How's everything?
The new home is great. It's a lot of upkeep, but
A lot
it's
of
going
upkeep.
well. Yeah.
What is the biggest thing that you just don't feel equipped to do?
I don't know. I mean, at first I felt equipped to do nothing.
Right. But some things come
'cause you're-
easier than others.
Right. And you're just kind of like, I don't really understand like that the house should come with a manual or something of like, you know, all the little quirks about it. Like, you know, this knob doesn't really turn all the way or something. But we had a plumbing issue the other day, and that was just like, I can't believe this is my problem. Kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's when I really missed apartment living.
Do you call a plumber? Like, so who do you get the plumber from?
Aileen.
Aileen had one.
And then she asked Rusty, and then
Word of mouth.
Yeah. And then that's how we found the plumber. Well, they say to because she didn't leave us a name of a plumber, but this guy was pretty good. But then he had to like open the ceiling, which was kind of annoying.
Okay.
So we had to open the ceiling, and I'm like, do you have to open the ceiling? Because like I definitely have no fucking idea how to close the ceiling after you. He's like, I don't close the ceiling. He's like, but if your husband's handy, like he could just fix it really easy. I'm like, I don't think he's
At that point, I would look at him and be like, "Are you fucking with me?
Right.
What do you mean? You open it up? You're not a closer upper?
He's like,
What's going on?
I don't close. I only open.
That's crazy. You make a mess, you clean it up,
Right.
buddy.
I think also it's funny when you leave the city. I feel like the urgency of everyone who's working is just much lower.
All urgency is lower.
Yes. No one's really in a rush to come do anything.
Right.
So even like the plumber was supposed to come on
all these
Monday.
lazy suburbanites.
He was supposed to come on Monday, and then like he called and he's like, you know, it's raining a lot. I'm like, the job is inside though.
Right.
Like, he's like, I'll come tomorrow. I'm like, that's just not how things work like here.
Right.
Manhattan.
And you might not have anyone else to call.
Right.
Right. And
no
you're
one's
at
just
that
like
point.
in a rush.
Right. They kind of know that. They're like, I'm the only plumber in town. Good luck. Loser. Yeah. Good luck trying to find someone to close up this hole.
Yeah. Maybe your handy husband can do it.
That is like almost demeaning. Maybe your husband knows how to do what I know how to do. Yeah. I don't like that.
And then Mike gets home and I show him the hole in the ceiling and he's like, he's like, why would you even mention that?
Right.
Of course I have no idea how to put the drywall, new drywall on the on the ceiling. Right?
I mean, I would look at you if I was married to you, I'd be like, do we even know each other? I'd be like, the idea that you're asking me to maybe drywall,
He suggested it. He's made it seem very easy. It's like a lot of that stuff where I'm just kind of like, and you feel like such a sucker too because you have no idea how much anything costs. Like, how much do you think? How much would it cost for a plumber to come and fix a leak?
Anywhere from $60,000 to $70,000. I have no idea.
So I'm kind of like, it's literally like whatever price he tells me it is. I'm not going to be like, well, we'll just keep the leak.
Right. This is very much like how movies are written. You know, like it's, you know, small town gal moving to the big city gets taken advantage of by
like
all the big city problems.
Exactly.
Big city woman moves to small town, you know, Long Island, gets taken advantage of by all the small town, you know, snake oil salesman. You know, like this is.
It's kind of like, I guess, starting anything that's new. You just feel like really stupid for a while.
Right.
And then I assume eventually you feel less stupid once you've repaired 4 leaks or something.
Right. Once you've met like 4 different plumbers.
Right.
And you go, I know what the going rate is. I know who's honest. I know who's not honest. You know, it's change is hard.
Yes, and expensive, but
right.
You know what? It's going. It's a little bit of a new adventure.
I think that is actually fun though. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have a house that was perfect and you're just sitting in your quiet house with your husband with no problems at all, or would you rather have like these small things to kind of like argue over, talk about?
Yeah.
You know, it adds this is the spice of life.
Well, I thought about that, yeah. And I mean, I've talked on the benefits episode about feeling old, but nothing also makes me feel more old than calling Mike. The plumber's here. He says it's this much. What do you think? He's like, I also don't know.
Right.
What do
Well,
you
isn't this
think?
why
Yeah.
parents exist? Do you
Right.
call his parents your parents? What do you do?
I guess we're kind of like, we'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. If we get like scammed for like an extra $100, it's whatever.
Right. Well, that's when you have to start getting on the. This is the things I would think you need to be on the same wavelength as a.
How much?
as a
Right. How
couple
much do we care?
about getting fucked?
Yes.
Right. That is one of those
The answer is
underrated.
a little bit.
Right. Enough to complain to each other, but not enough to go find the next plumber.
Well, they're like, oh, you should get 3 quotes from 3 different people. I'm like, who has time for this? There's a leak in the
Right.
ceiling. Like,
Who said that? That's one of those things where you go, oh, I guess that's how your marriage works.
right. And also, like, then you have to be home. Like, does no one work? Like, I have
Right.
shit to do. Like, I'm not just going to,
What?
I'm sitting around waiting for 3 plumbers to come.
This is called value systems. This is when you're dating. You don't really, in what world is a third date spent on how much you care about? I guess what could you look at to know value systems? It's like the way the person tips a wait staff. You
guess
go,
a little
oh,
bit.
they care a little bit too much about giving 20% versus 15%. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Their attitude, like, how does that play into their value system?
right. It's hard to know. And then this is, it's funny. It's just, this is when you're in the beginning of dating, you're like, I have all the answers. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And then you go, well, this is shit you can't find out until years into the process.
Right. You have no idea how someone's going to react to, the little thing. And the
The
thing
leak
is,
in
I
the
guess,
ceiling that
right,
needs some
yeah.
help. Hey, put a bucket down until we price it out. Like, that's an answer someone could give.
They could give it.
That's a value system.
Yeah.
Or it's, I'm not looking at a leak.
Right.
Like, there's 2 different people.
Right. And I'm also like about the amount of time that you have.
Right.
Well, do you want to come home and sit at home and wait for the 3 different guys to come in and then call them back and see when they're available and get the next one? Or do you
Right.
it's kind of it's all that
It's
all
a
that
big
fun stuff. Yeah.
the mess of interpersonal relationships, and that's why we're here. Every
Yes.
Wednesday, we talk about your dating issues. We want you guys to keep sending in your emails. uup@betches.com. We have so many great emails. We have so many great. I mean, at the end of this episode, we have Gerry, the Golden Bachelor. What a pleasure!
He was great.
So great. I want you guys to go listen, go enjoy it, because it was just such a
good, funny guy. He was happy with us making fun of him a little bit.
He's got the right attitude.
Amazing attitude.
Yeah.
As only a elder man from the Midwest.
I guess,
be.
It's funny.
Could
It's
have.
like when we were talking to him, like, I guess the stakes are kind of low when you think about his, like, yeah, I'm going
Totally.
to go on the show. If I meet someone, fine. If I don't, I'm going to be on the lake.
Well, I think that's the beauty of the Golden Bachelor, and this comes out. I think that comes out tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, right?
Right. The show starts on
Yeah.
Thursday, the 28th.
I'm
yeah.
actually gonna. I like the idea of like, because I think that the Bachelor has gotten so like climby, where it's like you just know everyone's there, just wants an extra 100,000 Instagram followers,
Right.
and it becomes like feeling a little like it's hard to take this seriously. But the Golden Bachelor,
Right.
very much like he said that too, like. No one wants to be an Instagram influencer. They're all in their 60s. Like they already have, like you already have a career, or if you don't, you're probably fine with that by the time you're in your 60s.
Right. You are fine with your place in life.
Right.
Climber is a great word to
Yeah.
use, because it's like, where am I going to climb?
Right.
I'm looking for someone to sit in a rocking chair with.
Yeah.
And that's it. But again, I do think drama will ensue. I don't know. They are sponsoring this episode. We should like be
They are.
somewhat upfront. But I mean, everyone knows your
yeah.
love of reality TV generally.
You love The Bachelor.
And I love The
I mean,
Bachelor.
I talked about this with Naomi on Oversharing too. Like we were excited for this season. So it's sponsored, but it's also I'm intrigued.
I am ready to live stream this show. And listen, if you're listening right now on Wednesday, my preview of every contestant is out.
Yes,
Then,
on Betches.com.
I don't know about.
Or it's
Well,
not?
we're gonna
Oh,
figure something
maybe
out.
not.
we
Okay,
might.
never mind.
I'll talk
Okay.
to someone here. We'll see
Sorry.
what we can work
You
out.
got that. Okay, your preview of every
My
contestant.
preview of the contestants is out wherever it may be. Listen. They are fun to make fun of. I have to say, I am taking a lot
You're
of
making fun of older women.
That's right. I guess I am.
Nice.
They're fun to joke about and with. I hope that they take it in stride in the way that I've done it. I'm not going to change how I make fun of The Bachelor just
Right.
because they got a couple wrinkles.
Yeah.
Does that sound bad? I don't know. Just no. Listen, it's just to me, it's a more
Respect your
fun.
elders.
I will make fun of them respectfully. I hope. You never know.
You did say you had a plan for how you're dressing, though. So we'll see.
Don't tell
Sorry.
people. I got a lot of plans. I got a lot of
Okay.
costumes.
We'll see how respectful it turns out.
Right.
We'll see. I mean, Gary seemed to enjoy your sense of humor.
He did.
Yeah.
I think he was into it. He liked us.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to come back.
Yeah, he said it.
He also
So,
mentioned ratings, so maybe that had to do with it.
that's true.
but I don't
Gary's he's not a little innocent old,
No. He ain't. No. This guy knows what he's doing. This guy, he's playing it. He is playing it right. I mean, when he said, you're going to see later in the episode, when he says to us, the hard part about being single is I just don't know what to do with all this extra food. Tears.
But
It got misty in here.
patties for $4.
Patties. This is a preview of what's to come. If you want to enjoy my funnies, I'm going to be on the road, Huntington, Long Island. I'm coming to
I'll be there.
Jordana's home.
Friday
night. There's still some tickets available, I think,
Okay.
unless something crazy happened between
Did
now
you
and
get
then.
me my tickets?
Your tickets are all set. I got you all in, the plumbing section.
Yeah, the leak next to the ceiling leak.
Yeah,
where we feel at home.
Right, exactly. I want to make sure you feel comfy,
No, it was
cozy.
a great theater. I drove past it. It looks nice.
Here's what happens. It's funny. When you're younger, as you age, you hear the same things from the same people all the time. Like, you're younger, you hear, I love Fire Island. Oh, we don't have flats at the beach. You don't even have to go to the bar in heels. And then you get older and it's Huntington, Long Island. Oh, it's like a little New York. It's like they have all the restaurants that you have in New York. It's such a great time. It's like, it's so funny how like these things over time,
people like repeating the same talking points.
Right. And so I'm excited to see this metropolis known as Huntington. Everyone talks about it glowingly.
Who's everyone?
I keep hearing. Anytime I mention them at the Paramount, they're like, whoa.
Oh, wow. All right,
Big
we'll have
deal.
to go out.
We're going to go out. We're going to party. Also, Seattle, second show added. Charlotte, Philly, Syracuse, D.C., Baltimore, Dania Beach, Portland, Oregon, Arizona, San Diego, Boston, Chicago, jaredfree.com.
Today we're talking about a little bit about the chase, I guess.
Da Chase.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Hi, J&J. First off, thank you so much for your service and being real with dating. You guys got me through my first big breakup a little over a year ago, and I'm currently thriving in my single life.
Got you, girl.
Love to hear it. I'm 24, female, and I recently moved to New York City about a month ago. I had a few flings from Hinge when I was where I was living before, but I definitely get discouraged and burnt out. Now that I'm in New York City and cuffing season is upon us, I think I'm ready to meet someone here. I'd love it to be in person, but I know the apps are also very realistic these days. So this is the dilemma. I'm somewhat old-fashioned, and I think that the guy should make the first move, Hinge likes included. Most of my friends, of course, agree it's so normal to like the guy first on Hinge. But I have a few friends who strongly believe that the guy should like the girl on Hinge, saying the right guy for you would like you. I know this is a very gender stereotype, but on some level, I agree. It would be nice for these cute guys I see to like me on Hinge. I may not be everyone's cup of tea, which I understand, but it has me wondering, Jared, what are guys' thoughts on girls liking them? Jordana, do you feel that this stigma exists in dating apps too, where guys should like the girl? I'm a pretty forward and confident person, but I would like to be virtually courted a bit and not have to like the guy myself. I could be overthinking it and I may not be popping up on their Hinge, but it's been a big topic of discussion amongst my friends. Thoughts on girls making the first move on the apps? Thanks so much. You guys are the best at traditional betch.
I like this email. A lot of buzzy words in it.
Yeah.
The whole traditional thing.
Courted.
What did they say? The virtually courted, I guess that was the phrase.
Gender stereotypes.
Gender stereotypes, all that good stuff. I think I think you have to stop living and saying who you are and start like owning what you like.
Okay.
This feels, whenever someone says I'm more traditional, it feels judgmental. I think
Of
it's
someone else?
Of someone else.
Right.
It never feels like, and it feels like you never really even did what you're talking about. It's too vague.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to run into problems. I think you're going to run into negativity. I think you're going to run into you being a little bit ranty and writing your own
Because
blog,
she's
so to
labeling
speak.
herself.
Right. I think
she's making it a societal thing.
right, a religion,
Right.
so to speak. And it's like, it doesn't come off well. And I notice, and I'm just giving you my side of things. Whenever, and again, like the guys who say I'm more traditional, you make your assumptions of them as well.
Right.
You know, so I think it's okay to be like,
Or the guys who say they're not traditional.
right.
Make your own.
You're going to have another judgment with
Yeah.
that. I think what this person needs to get, and they're young. Let me just also remind
24.
them, 24, to say that you got through a breakup and, you know, that was a different reality. You're living in a way different reality at 24 than you were with your
Big city.
yeah, big city gal, your high school boyfriend or whatever, college boyfriend that you were living, you know, kind of felt like you guys were living in reality. It wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
This is
We're here to tell you any past relationships you've had weren't real.
didn't matter.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just like, you know, to me, you got to taste it to know if you like it. And it's okay to change your mind. This, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like when you say I'm traditional, you are actually making yourself not vulnerable.
Well, I think what she could say is like, I like when a guy messages me first or
Right.
likes me first. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing is wrong with that. I think what we get into with a lot of these dating conversations, it gets annoying because it's like let me give you an example. I said on this podcast, I don't want to date a teacher. That's a very specific thing that comes from past experience informing my future decisions. It wasn't because I think teachers are bad people. It wasn't because I think teaching isn't a great profession. It wasn't because I don't think that they're not beautiful and attractive. It's just me making some form of judgment based off of past feelings and taste.
Right. You like what you like just like anyone likes anything.
Well, that's right. But I
Right.
think she's afraid when when someone says I'm traditional, I think you'll be better served in saying, I like a guy who likes my profile. Because again, she's already testing it out with the group.
Yeah.
She's already like, well, I have lots of friends who are on this
She's
side.
trying
of
to
it.
get permission to feel the way that she feels, which she doesn't need permission for. Just like you talked about this on your TED Talk with the first date, who pays on the first date.
Right.
You could just prefer that the guy pays on the first date.
That's okay.
Doesn't have to be because you're labeling yourself as any kind of way.
Right. And we get it more than anyone, where you're kind of like bracing yourself for this like internet commenter who you have no good response for.
Right.
Like, let's just say, you know, having taste is kind of gross, you know, because anyone can take your taste, use it against you and go, oh,
You suck because you like that thing.
you don't like a teacher?
Right, yeah.
You don't like heroes who teach our children?
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, your preferences, I think anyone can have any preferences that they want at any time in dating. That's like a complete, like, they should. It could be limiting, but that's
Right.
fine. If you don't, like, do you know what I mean? Like, because let's say you don't really like to date teachers. Does that mean that there's absolutely no scenario where you would ever go on a date with a teacher?
Exactly.
Because it would be like the worst thing that you could ever possibly imagine? No, it just means like that's not something that you see and is like a huge plus for you.
Right. And again, the teacher example, some people, again, and I'm saying this to this person, if they're listening right now, some people hear this teacher example and they can't hear anything else. They go, well, Jared hates fucking teachers. And it's like, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Jared can't get hard for a fucking teacher. Like, that's all they hear. And you have to admit to that. Taste is gross.
Yeah.
Like, for you to go,
Right.
I like, you know, when anyone could look at her and go, she's like, she could say, nah, I don't date anyone who likes me on the dating apps. I like to, I don't date anyone where I have to like them. If they don't like my profile, I'm not going to go on a date with them. That's okay to say. Someone could poke a hole in that real quick and go, oh, who are you?
Right.
Oh, miss, I got to be liked on the dating app.
Or
You know,
you're,
it's like,
you're being old fashioned. It doesn't
Right.
work like that. Do whatever, like whatever people want to think, that's fine. And maybe there's like, again, any taste, any preference you have limits your options to an extent, but that's called
Sure.
having taste.
That's called having taste.
Yes.
And yeah, so she can do whatever she wants. She might be surprised. I think when you say I don't like here's what happens. When you say I'm old fashioned, you're never wrong. You know, like you're never like when you say I don't go out with guys where I have to like them first. Then people could go, well, yeah, good luck finding a match then, you know,
Right.
Miss Picky. I'm old fashioned. Oh, the Queen of England. Oh, whoa, look at this high end bitch. So I understand why she's doing that.
Yeah.
I'm old fashioned is easier
She's trying
than
to justify it,
making
yeah.
a decision where
Right.
you could be wrong. Because wait a minute. Oh, wait, this guy liked my profile. And no, I like this guy's profile. We went on a date. We had a great time. And now we're like kind of seeing each other. Then someone goes, oh, I thought you don't go out with guys who.
Well, that's right. That's the difference between making it a part of your personality.
Right.
I'm traditional versus a preference.
Right.
You can have a preference and still enjoy the things that isn't your preference.
Right. And that's where I do think, and I know I'm making this maybe too broad. I do think we are a generation of not wanting to be wrong. We're a generation of being embarrassed, slam dunked on. You know, we're a generation of like, if you put out the TikTok where you say something that gets, you know, used in a what do they call a stitch? I go to Candace for our TikTok languaging. When someone can I made a TikTok where I said the one thing I've learned about women, and then I go on this like joke.
Right.
And people stopped it at the one thing I learned about women. They stopped right there and they go, right. You know, they made fun of me for saying you've only learned one thing about women.
Right.
Fine. The joke, I get it. It's funny. But I think we live in fear of that now. Like, I think
like called out.
out.
Yeah.
And I think and I see this again from the female side of things. Not to say that men don't do anything wrong and we're awful. We're the worst. I agree.
Mm.
But if I'm to give feedback to the female, gender, it's this weird thing of like, I feel judged as a guy where it's like, I saw a TikTok, the woman wrote, or she said on TikTok, she goes, I'm a person who loves a good night's sleep. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The thing about me.
The thing about me is I
Right.
like a good night's sleep.
Okay.
And you go, who's out there? Who's the opposite?
Then you stitched it.
So then I stitched it. I said, you stupid women. No, but I'm saying, like, I saw that and I was like, and it does seem that women talk like this a lot, where it's like, I'm just
You're
a
the
person
well, you're the star. Here's
who's
the thing.
traditional, but I guess men do this too.
But social media also allows you to be like the star of your own show.
Sure.
You know, you get 25 followers and you're like, people want to know how, sleep affects me.
Right. So I guess that's why you talk that way.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess it's like she's kind of doing this in her dating life.
Right.
And it's like, it's okay to speak however you want to speak, but you will be better served if you go, and it's okay because then you're going to get rid of people that you don't want to be around.
Right.
You're going to be a better dater. I like when someone does this thing.
Yeah.
I don't like that is taking a chance as much as it doesn't seem
Exactly. And you don't have to like dig your heels into it. You could just say that's what you prefer, not even say it, and just prefer it.
Right.
And just do it.
Yeah, let's get used to, let's say it this way. You know what makes me wet?
That's what you say at the brunch table.
That's at the brunch table. You know what makes me wet? When a guy likes my profile and I don't have to like his.
Yeah.
And to me, perfectly understandable. I hear that and I'm like, this person gets it. You know what I mean? Like if I heard someone go, well, I am just traditional, I'd be like, this person's out of their fucking mind.
Right. Because you're feeling judged then from that.
Yeah, and they're not being specific enough to be vulnerable. They're not even, what does that even mean?
Right. It'd be like instead of saying, I prefer not to date a teacher, you said, I just, I'm anti the American educational system.
Right.
That's just about,
It's just a thing about me. That's
I don't like learning.
No, and I don't like
or
people
anyone
who teach.
who likes learning.
Right.
Or encourages learning.
I think these teachers don't work enough. That would be like the equivalent.
Right.
Right? If I was just like saying, Jorge, I'm just watching Jorge steam up
It's rage texting his wife.
Right. No, I again, these are all jokes, but
Yeah.
it's like you do hear this tone of language, especially when it comes to dating. Like, your problem isn't being too traditional. Your problem is being too vague and not admitting to your taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do this shit all, who am I?
And again, you can have taste and also like make an exception. I think that's the important thing to know it. And that's why it's better to have a
Right.
preference than a self-proclaimed identity.
Right.
It's like, I prefer to do this means maybe you see someone and you're like, that guy seems like a great match. Maybe this is an exception.
I'll throw a like.
Then you haven't made it like part of who you are. Is that someone who can't like someone else's profile?
Right. I've never been, and to answer her question, I've never been turned off or different about a woman who liked my profile versus me liking her profile.
Right.
I have been turned off by the profile that says I'm traditional. That's
So now you know. You're 24. Never like a profile again. See how it goes.
See how it goes. It's up to you. Let's do some awkward sex. You ready?
I'm ready.
UUP at Betches.com. UUP at Betches.com.
This one is very sexual.
Very sexual.
For an awkward sex. As they sometimes are.
And I love that. And again, it had nothing to do with my special, but they wrote, Jared, your special prompted me to finally write to you both about an awkward sex
It's
story.
probably like they saw the special and they were like, oh yeah, I gotta write in that.
I've been meaning to write.
You reminded me.
Yeah, because I was like waiting for the relation to like a joke from the special. It didn't. That never came. But someone
This is
did.
not. You're not. There you go. Your special is not about this.
No, my special is out there on Netflix right now. 37 and Single. It is waiting for you to watch. I've actually gotten a lot of people recently. It's popping back up.
Yeah.
People
top,
are like,
top 10 again.
I'd like that to happen, but
top amount. Well, you guys can bring it back.
That's the thing. It's the people's special. Come on.
People's choice.
Share with a friend, especially if a topic from it comes up. Okay. In 2022, I went to live in Mexico for a few months after recently getting out of a long-term relationship. While there, I started talking to a man my friends and I now call Peter Pan.
Clever.
He asked me to come over to his place one night, and after a half a bottle of rosé, I was ready to get down and dirty. We started making out and moved things to the bedroom. The first red flag should have been when he asked in all seriousness, "May I kiss you down there?"
I mean,
Nice
it's
of
not
him.
that bad. That's
Not
consent.
horrible. I mean, it is consent. We're all about that. But also, if said in the right tone, "Can I kiss you down there?" Come on, who's not a little wet? Right in.
We're taking a poll.
Right.
I don't think that's the worst offense anyone could do.
Well, if he said it like this, "Can I kiss you down there?" Like, that'd be a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, how do we
It
know?
does feel very regal.
Right, fine.
May I kiss you on your pussy?
He's a gentleman.
A gentleman and a scholar. In my head, I was thinking, my God, this guy's from the Renaissance. But I shrugged it off and he went down on me for what felt like a whole episode of Friends.
That sounds like a very nice thing to do for someone.
22 minutes? Are you kidding me? I'll take a 22-minute blowjob. Who the fuck cares? What?
Yeah.
Joey in the background?
And
Ross? Rachel? Phoebe?
It's just getting started.
Right. Gunther. Usually not a bad thing, but he wasn't taking any direction whatsoever and spent 90% of the time licking my labia majora. What's he doing wrong?
It sounds like he's going on the outer lips.
You're not supposed to do that?
It's not going in?
I eat the whole thing.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm joking. I'm on the labia majora, labia minora. I'm lighting a
Whole
menorah.
constellation.
I'm all over that clit. Ah.
You know how comfy these
Right.
awkward sex
I know.
stories
I just
make me.
like watching Jordana fold into herself as we read this. I bring out a whole picture of the vagina and I put it up on the wall and I go, here's where I am now.
You give a guided tour.
A guided tour,
Nice.
that's right.
I like that.
Gonna start up here. Gonna make it to that bridge between pussy and asshole.
I can see how 20 minutes, if you're in the wrong area, would be like a
Right.
very long time.
20
It'd be like
minutes
if
of
someone
licking
was
your thigh.
Right. When they're like, "Can I kiss you down there?" and they
Right.
lick your thigh for 20 minutes, you might be like, "Okay."
Right. I could understand that. Like, because to me, if I'm going to go down on a woman, I'm going on, I want to spread myself around.
Right.
And some of it is part of the, that's why let me defend the labia majora for a second. It gets its time too.
Yeah.
Right. When you go for a massage, you go concentrate on the clit, but give me some labia majora.
I didn't even know what it was called, a labia majora.
I'm taking your lead. Is that the outside lips?
I guess labia, I think, is the outside lip. I've never heard it called the labia majora.
Maybe those are the big lips.
We need a health teacher in here.
We need a help. Yeah, we need some. Candace. Yes, Candace.
She's like, I am not paid for this
right.
kind of thing.
Candace disappointedly, yes, we do. What is the labia majora? The inner lips. There's an outer and inner lip?
The outer lips are like
You guys are monsters.
outside. It's a complicated thing.
It's like this.
Yes.
Right?
These are the labias.
That's what Jay-Z puts above his head every concert. No? That's not? Yes, that is. It is? Okay.
The labia is the outside part.
Okay.
But all the nerve endings are in the middle. Have you been doing this wrong the whole time?
I don't know. Oh, my God. And where's the clit? On her belly button?
It's in.
The clit's in?
It's not like in,
I
but
thought
it's
it was
like
at
in
the
the
top
middle.
in the crease.
It's in the middle. I'm saying it's not on the outer lips. There's not as much of like a
Nerve endings.
nerve ending there.
Okay, this is good to know. Our male listeners are being educated.
I mean, it's still in. There's like the center part with like all the nerve endings, and there's the labia are like the lips surrounding it.
So the labia are my fingers with the thumbs.
Yes.
Okay. Where is the clit?
It's. I mean, I think.
Listen, as the
Yeah, it's probably- it's on
resident
the top.
guy on
The
this
bo-
show,
the
I'm
bottom-
willing to sound stupid,
I
but
would
I
say
thought
it's usually towards the top.
right where my fingernails are meeting. My
But
fingers are meeting.
I'm just saying it's the
It's more inside
yes,
though.
it's more inside.
Okay.
Not like inside your body, but like inside the labia.
Inside the
labias.
the fingers
the
coming
labii.
together.
I don't know.
What's in the thumbs? Where
I don't know.
Okay.
We needed some. That's how the bottom is like close to like your like
A noose.
no, it's like where you would pee. Of the
What?
it's like I'm saying that like the lower you go, that's how you get like a UTI. You can't go too far in. Anyway,
Anywho. Wow.
I think that I think that's the case.
There's many sexual partners of mine going, we are not surprised.
I've definitely explained that entirely wrong. We'll see.
We'll find out. I'm sure no one will comment on this section
No
of the
way.
podcast.
Yeah, they'll be. You guys lost all credibility.
Afterwards, we start having sex. This guy must have read some Vanity Fair magazine on 10 things women love during sex. But the issue is he was trying to do too much at one time, i.e. putting his tongue down my entire ear canal, telling me to call him master, all while levitating my entire body off the ground. It felt like I was in Cirque du Soleil. Finally, he says he's about to finish and he asks if he can come in my mouth. And at this point, I want this to be over with, so I oblige and say, yes.
He is asking.
He's
Every step
always
of the way.
asking. Yeah. May I come in your mouth? Yes. I thought he'd stick his big old thumbs up. There we go. I thought he'd stick his penis in my mouth like a normal human being.
It's a phrase you don't hear every day.
Not every day.
Yeah.
But instead, he springs off the bed like Peter Pan. I don't know if
have a
I
visual.
see the Peter Pan visual that they've been promoting.
I have the visual of what they're talking about. Like
Oh, like Peter Pan, like
he like jumps,
jumping on the bed? Arms extended?
Like
Oh.
like that, I guess. Like he's
I
like
guess
like
so.
sprightly and jumping.
I don't know if I could come like that.
That's why I'm
I've
confused
come
as
in
to what
some
he's doing.
situations, but
He's like jumping around.
he's doing a lot of Peter Pan shit.
Okay.
So I obliged to say yes. I thought he'd stick his penis in my mouth like a normal human being, but instead he springs off the bed like Peter Pan, flips on all the lights, and leaps back on the bed, all while I'm sitting there mortified of seeing some 38-year-old's clenched butt cheeks in the air. With the fluorescent lights now blinding me, I don't even have time to process what's going on until hot steaming cum goes into my right eye. To my dismay, he plops down on the bed grinning and says, I like the lights on because I want to see your face. On that note, I cleaned myself off and got out as quickly as possible. Worst thing is he had the audacity to call me 2 days later to ask if I would have a threesome with him and another girl. I responded, you couldn't even fuck me right. How you gonna fuck us both?
That seems like a very awkward conversation.
It feels very sitcom.
Was this on a call?
I guess so.
Like,
Maybe she texted
dialed him up.
Right.
She said he called me later. Called
Oh,
me 2
yeah,
days
you're
later.
right. How you gonna fuck us both? Click. Got him. I gladly never heard from him again, but luckily now I know surprise cum shots are indeed a kink. I hope you two enjoyed this. Yours truly, One-Eyed Willie.
How do you spot and avoid a man who's like so hyper sexually weird like this?
Right. I guess it's like,
Just
I guess
be normal.
weird isn't the word to me. It's just like, you're like a jumping bean, you know?
Right.
Like it's
Just be smooth.
Right. I guess like,
But then the threesome call after just makes me think he's just like trying to like do things that are very crazy just for the sake of them.
right. He's just trying to get yeses, I guess. Like
Right.
he's looking for willing participants. And when you've
Less
said,
about her. Yeah.
right. And I don't know. I guess you could say he's like, if he says, I want to come in your mouth, I would think it was going to go in your mouth.
Yeah. That would be like the logical next
Right.
step.
And it'd be like, I would have like, I guess, I would have had more questions. Like, I don't know. I guess like afterwards, I thought you said my mouth. Like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, I guess instead of
Where-
saying it in the moment, she probably just wanted him to leave, and then she said it when he called her for the threesome.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. You ever
Wouldn't
had
be
cum in your eye?
No.
Never.
Thankfully. No. What about you?
Not lately.
Did it ever come in someone's eye?
No, it's not a. It's not
Not
for
a thing
me.
for you?
I once tried the cum on my face thing. I remember one time I went to do it. It was asked of me,
Okay.
and I went to do it, and it was a big fumble
big
on
ask?
my. It wasn't in my like
Skill
like
set?
I felt a little. It wasn't for me,
Okay.
you know, because I guess what am I trying to say? It was
You didn't feel right about doing it.
Well, I just kept trying, and I was like, this isn't what gets me going.
Right. I would say
You
that
know?
about the reception of that.
Right.
Yeah. Not for me.
Put on these swim goggles.
It's time.
Come on, we're about to Phelps.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
I call this never again land.
Candace had some good ones. No master of sex, tinker my bell, faith, trust, and midair thrusts. I would like to come now.
Ah, there you go.
Surprise.
Okay.
Written surprise. We got it.
Yeah, I get it.
Also, last one. Come on, man.
There you go.
Like that's, yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I like what was the first one? I think I like that the most.
That was, I would like to come now.
There we go. Double entendre.
That's right. We love it on Tanj.
Okay, let's do another email. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. My high school and college ex of 7 years cheated on me. Monster. After the second time we broke up. We have never spoken face to face since the breakup. He reached out over the phone and emailed to apologize. He also wound up asking for me back and trying to manipulate and guilt me. I had to ask him to stop reaching out, and he didn't, so I blocked him. He recently reached out to me on Facebook. I can tell from his photos and his sister's Instagram that he was recently married. When he reached out, he said Facebook suggested us as friends. See attached screenshots. For context, this was 7 years ago in our 20s, and we are now in our 30s. Okay.
Okay, so I'll be him
So just to summarize the context, they dated 7 years ago. He cheated on her. They broke up a couple times. They haven't spoken since the breakup, and she had blocked him because he wouldn't stop reaching out.
Got it. Yeah.
7 years later.
And let me just say, this story might get people looking at you shocked. Like, he reached out 7 years later. Like, it feels like a lot of the details that she's giving are like to show us, like, isn't this crazy? No.
Yeah, doesn't sound that.
Old flame who's now married reaching out on Facebook. Welcome to 2020 This is a story as old as time. This is happening. Facebook is basically a swingers party. Facebook, this is every cheating story.
Yes.
Like that we hear, right?
An old flame reached out on Facebook.
Is like the beginning of every story.
Yes.
So like, let's stop.
You're on this thing too?
Right. You just came across my feed. Whoa, you my suggested friends. That's the thing. I think like we need to normalize this. I hate the word normalize because it's usually used by douchebags, but I guess I'm the douchebag today because
you're saying this is normal.
We need to stop being so shocked about this so that you can be a better consumer.
Right.
The so-and-so reaching out over Facebook, they're not coming for good reasons.
You don't think they just want to catch up?
Right.
With an old friend?
Right. I think this is someone who's going through life and looking through the keyhole of someone else's life.
Maybe not feeling that happy with where they are.
Right.
Let's read the messages.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll be him, I'll be her.
I'll be him. And I wanted to say that first because I want people to hear these messages through that prism. Don't hear these messages through the prism of like, oh my God, guy reaching out of a Facebook.
Why would he do that?
Right. Like, let's act like this. This is the way he wrote it. Ready?
Right.
Hey, stranger. Facebook has been suggesting you as a friend like clockwork every day for the last week. Hope you're doing well and packing in some awesome adventures and all the new chapters you've kicked off. It's painful seeing how immature and unfair I was in the messages above. That'll always be my life's biggest mistake and regret.
That got deep very quickly.
Right. Because he has to acknowledge
Facebook keeps showing me who you are, but you know.
Hey, friend.
Sorry about ruining your life 7 years ago.
Heidi-ho! I have a lot of regret. Don't mean to rehash that though. And for all our good times growing up together, it's been nice to see your photo appear on my phone. Warm wishes and all the best from so-and-so.
Hi. Not all algorithms are good ones, right?
They are so on different pages. Yeah. And again, listen, I have had.
He's trying to like have sex with her, right?
Yeah, but also she's not. She's trying to tell him what he's never going to hear.
Which is what?
He just said, I'm so happy to see your face on my phone after all these years. And she writes, not all algorithms are good, right? They're not even joking about the same thing. She's basically answering him like a yes and.
You should have just ignored this, right?
Right. Like instead of like, again, I'm not saying it's her responsibility. I'm not trying to like blame her. But like, you're not speaking the same language when you say, not all algorithms are good, right? And it's like, no, he just told you he loves seeing your face on his phone.
Right. Well, she's saying, I don't like that. Nah, I don't.
But she does it in a tone that's like.
It's a little passive aggressive.
It's right.
That's
but
fair.
I don't think he's going to get that.
But she's trying to make it like a little light, I think. I don't think she's done anything wrong yet at this point.
Nothing wrong, but I'm just saying, like, it just, to me, I'm like, you haven't even answered his email. Like, to me, it's like you've ignored.
To also get at him, though, when he starts with, Facebook has been suggesting you as a friend like clockwork for every day for the last week. I hate when people do this, when they're like, he clearly has been thinking about messaging her for a long time. He's pretending it's because he just popped up on his page. I find it to be a cowardly move. If you want to message someone to apologize, don't pretend it's because Facebook made you do it.
Right. Maybe they're made for each other. Two cowards.
There you go. And then she says, I forgive you, and I'm glad we both moved on. Hope you are well.
That and I will appreciate that she's put a period on this. That should be the end.
Is like, it's like, heard you, not upset anymore. not interested in anything else.
And I'm telling you that if you came across my algorithm, it'd be a bad thing for me.
Right.
All right. Too much shared history. And so he writes back. He doesn't get the point. Too much shared history and mutual connections for them not to plug the friend request. Facebook had a 12-year memory of the trip to Costa Rica just recently, too. Time flies. It would be nice to possibly connect at some point to hear where you're landed on life's journey. This guy loves a fucking poet. Journeys and life and shit. But I also fully respect moving on, regardless. No, you don't, actually, dude. You just responded to a text that she didn't want to be responded to. Regardless, wish you nothing less than the best.
All right. I don't think that's true. But.
No.
And then she writes to us, I'm happy that after he cheated on me, we didn't talk face to face. I have asked him not to contact me. Am I right to be angry? I feel like he has a history of toxic behavior and I don't want a relationship with him. Or if I maybe denied him some type of closure that he needs or something else. Sincerely, hey stranger, as if.
Stranger,
okay.
I know what
Sincerely, stranger, I know what you taste like.
So what do we think here? We've given some commentary already. But.
First of all, I don't think she's denying him any closure.
No.
She already also gave him that. If that was the case, she said, I forgive you.
That was the
yeah.
And then he ignored that.
Right.
By writing back again.
He doesn't give a shit. That's the annoying thing about these kind of messages, because they're like sort of feigned like apology. Like he doesn't give a shit about you.
Right.
He wants to see if you're like still interested.
It's funny we're on the same page, but from like a different angle. Like
I'm like annoyed for her because not because that he even messaged her, but that because he's lying.
Right. It's funny that I'm annoyed for her because it's obviously scratched at an itch that hasn't gone away. Mm-hmm. She still is seemingly is angered that someone has cheated on her.
Sure.
She's brought up the cheating multiple times. It was 7 years ago. So she's obviously not over being, and again, this cheating is a very harsh thing that is tough to get over. It's a traumatic thing to happen.
Even
I
if
can
you're
understand
over
that.
it, you can still be like physically like feel a certain way in your body about it when you think about the person that did it to you. Even if she's not thinking about it on a daily basis. If that person messages you, you could like feel it again.
No, I agree with that. I'm not denying that. I'm saying I agree with what you said before too, though. Mm-hmm. For him, it's not about her.
Right.
Like, she's like, how could this, like, two things I guess are true at the same time. He's brought up this memory of cheating. He doesn't give a fuck about you.
Right. Which are combined,
yeah.
Quite annoying.
Very annoying. Well, he's going through something.
Yeah.
Hey, stranger, it's been a while. On Facebook,
when he's married,
is someone going through something.
Yes.
Her email doesn't acknowledge that at all. Her email is all, how could he do this to me again after he cheated on me? Which I don't think she's wrong for feeling. Right. I'm saying he's not coming in with, let me go fuck with this person I cheated on.
He's not trying to fuck with her, but he also doesn't care about her.
Right.
Which I think is, in the same vein.
Well, he thinks he's so great and that he's in a situation that is not as great as how he thinks he is. Mm-hmm. So now he's going to these people from his past that present great on social media. He adventures and pictures and you're killing it. Mm-hmm. He goes to this oasis of a person, which she's not. She's
with
doing
someone that used to be into him.
Right.
Right.
Someone who said yes to your naked body once before, and that's all he needs. Guys think if you wanted to have sex with us once, you will want to have sex with us forever.
So you don't think he feels bad at all about the way that he was acting before?
I think he's so up his own ass and he's so looking for the thing that cures his misery.
Right.
He's trying to cure his own misery. And it sucks that you're the person getting used as medicine for that. Mm-hmm. I agree with that, but that's what's happening.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fucked up. Because it's like, if you're feeling shitty about yourself, find someone who you didn't make feel terrible a long time ago.
Right.
To re-engage with.
He's not even thinking that. He's thinking, he thinks, again, this is an ego thing too. Like, this is like, he thinks he's a great catch.
Clearly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
he wants to connect.
He wants to connect.
And he's asked you twice if you would like to.
Right.
Right.
So, and I don't think he sits there in the mirror going, look how great you are. I don't think he does that, but I think he has said what happened in the past is in the past, but I'm a different guy now, and we have this connection that was so long ago that might be still here. And look how great she looks on Facebook, and look how great her life looks. And
Right.
man, we'd be lucky to like make this great thing together.
Even though he's married again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's sad.
Right.
The whole
Yeah.
hey stranger over Facebook always feels a little sad when
I
you're
think-
married
right.
and all that stuff.
I think this should feel vindicating to her, to be totally honest. And I know
Okay.
you don't really like that.
Not
You're
my
not
style.
as vindictive at all as I am. But if I were her, I'd be like, this guy is the same guy he always was. Like, he hasn't changed. He's still only thinking about himself, because when you're cheating on someone, you're thinking about yourself.
Absolutely right.
And I would just say, in my mind, I would be like, I feel bad for him. He's clearly like, hasn't really grown that much.
Right. Right.
Instead of feeling anger. I mean, I know it's easier to feel anger than like bad for someone, but especially when they've like targeted you or hurt you before.
Right.
But I do think it's kind of like, if I were her, I'd be like, wow, this guy's really up to his same old shit.
Right. It's funny because I'm like, I agree. Again, I'm not for like but
Revenge.
but I'd be more closer to your feeling than hers. My feeling wasn't be like, oh, this piece of shit who cheated on me is here to manipulate me again. It'd be more like, oof, fuck. I guess he's deep in it,
Right.
you know, and he's still
It would be a little bit of both, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know, like I guess what we're both saying is like there's a perspective shift that
Right.
you have to like kind of try and go through, unless you're like still mad about the cheating, like in a way that's more than this guy, you know, this guy kind of popped out of a bush to remind you were cheated on, which I can
Right.
understand why you feel bad about that. But if you're like every day, like, you know, have this kind of wearing on you, it might be okay. Maybe you're the one who needs closure.
Right.
And the only
If that's an
yeah.
everyday thing, but I also think like you can be over something and still be like, if it was like a significant event in your life, it's
Right.
okay if it doesn't make you like not over something to be contacted by someone who hurt you deeply, and the last thing that they did was so contentious that you block them, that you get a very negative feeling when you hear from them. Even if
Right.
it was 7 years ago. I don't think that that's means she's like living in the past or not over it. I think it's like, that's normal.
Right. I guess what I would also have anxiety about if I were her, that in the end, like, is okay, I ignore that last message, but I never like close the fence.
So you think she should do one more closing the?
To me,
She kind of did that already, but I think
She
if she
did
wants
do
to be
that
more,
already.
if she wants to cut his head off, she can.
right, because I could understand the worst part about this is like, oh, now he's comfortable enough to message in this post I've blocked him world. He left it friendly. I'm not sitting here friendly.
Right.
He didn't get that. So now I have to like sit here waiting for the next Facebook
Make him-
message to come.
Make him regret ever messaging you. That's
See, that's where I'm getting at.
Right.
Is you write to him, I don't want to hear from you ever again. This only brings up bad memories for me. I tried being nice in my message before.
I forgive you. I do
Obviously,
forgive you. I moved on, but I
Right.
don't want to hear from you.
but I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you block. But I think a block would end up, he'd find another way to message you. He'd want answers because he's such a narcissist. That
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, he wants to find out. He really wants to find out where in her journey she is.
if you've written the word journey, your message has gone on too much. Maybe you shouldn't message. Maybe that should be like a
Hey,
good rule for
stranger.
hey, yeah, the hey stranger.
What millennials are like on Facebook?
Oh, come on.
doing
I
this
think
kind
once
of
you're
thing?
married, you're on Facebook
Is that a thing? You go back?
browsing the friends you might
no
have.
one posts anything on there.
I've actually been posting more on my Facebook page.
You gotten a Facebook DM?
Yeah, I've gotten messages. Not like not
What's
like
the best
hey, stranger.
medium to contact an ex?
The best one? It's probably Facebook.
Oh, I was going to say an email.
I've gotten emails. Nah, email you might think like it moved down the inbox. They don't use that account. Facebook, I think, is like the
Lost the mail. I
went
think
to their spam.
I like an email because Facebook message, you can see when the other person reads it,
Yeah, that's horrific.
which is kind of like, I think it's like unfair to the person you're messaging, because like everyone should have a right to read a message and not have you know that they read it yet. I think an email is like they can answer whenever they could see it and sit on it.
Right. I
And you
just
can't
think,
use a bullshit thing like, oh, the algorithm pushed your
well, I
your
think
picture up.
I think when you Facebook message, you're looking to see that they answered.
I
Like
know, but like,
that's the reason you're messaging.
right. But
Hey,
then again, it's for you.
stranger.
It's for you. It's not
Right,
for them.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. Yeah,
All Facebook messages sent are for you. You know, you're
Stop sending
curious.
selfish Facebook DMs.
Yeah. I really think we solved dating on
we
this
did,
episode,
yeah.
and we got Gerry coming on.
I'm
Great
pumped.
interview, great guy. How are you feeling being the Bachelor? Give us like the top line.
I am fired up about this. This is the most exciting experience that I think anyone could have in their life.
Were you a fan of the franchise before being named The Bachelor? Did you know anything about it or not really?
I would say a casual viewer of the franchise. I would watch a season, then I'd miss a season, back and forth. But by and large, over the last couple of years, I've watched a lot more than I did earlier.
So was that because you were single and you're like, let me see what this world is like? And after being in a long, marriage and being, with your wife, like, were you like, what's this world going to be like?
Actually, it was more because my daughters and granddaughters were watching the show, and I had almost a little FOMO about not knowing what was going on. And we began texting back and forth, and we'd kind of mac on some of the contestants or some of the leads. And I got more and more involved in the show because my daughters and even my son-in-laws were watching. And so that's kind of how I got more involved.
Oh, maybe they're
Wow.
familiar with my work. If they're fans of The Bachelor, I don't know. Maybe
They might be.
What do you mean, Mac on the contestants?
Making fun of a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
How are you going to deal with that? Because I make fun of The Bachelor. I will tell you this right now, Gerry. I'm gearing up for the season. I'm in the weight room. I'm getting ready. I'm doing contestant previews right now. How are you going to deal? This world of social media that kind of max on what you're going to be doing. How do you feel about that?
I actually will find the humor in it. I've already been online. I'm on Instagram, and I'm seeing some of the things that people say, and it's like friggin' hilarious. You know, it's pretty common knowledge, I think, that I live on a lake. So when some of the comments were, Jesus, they're putting this 72-year-old guy through spray tanning. I just laughed my ass off because it's like, nah, I'm out in the sun. I have a boat. I got a jet ski.
That is the most 70-year-old response to someone making fun of your tan. I'm outside. Come on, I'm an active man.
helps make you look younger,
Right.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be funny watching the comments, to tell you the truth.
On that note, though, were there any things you were asked to do where you were just kind of like, I feel like I'm too old for this? Or not really?
No. If you can take some of the more daredevil activities that we've seen on the shows, and some of those activities were placed in front of me, I was an eager person to be involved in them. I loved it.
And the contestants were too? Were there ever a moment where you're like, was there a moment where, because so much of the previews have been about, about the contestants, how active everyone does. It's almost like it's become a joke in itself. Everyone's playing pickleball. Everyone's active. Everyone says they're active until they have to be active. Were there points where you're like, let's do the date. Let's go on the hike. Come on, we're going to go skydiving. And you just look to your right and you're like, this person isn't as active as they said they were?
Actually, no.
No.
Hypothetically, if I were to take a date rappelling, and I was going to rappel down 200-foot cliff, and I was going to rappel through a waterfall, and my date said, no, I'm not interested once we were there, hypothetically, they might not go very far in the journey with me. But that didn't happen.
Okay, but that didn't. So you felt that they were on your level in that way.
Indeed, they were.
That's great to hear. How much dating had you done before going on the show? Like, I want to hear about your not show dating life? Like, what were you doing? Were you on apps? Were you meeting? How were you meeting people? Like before,
Yeah.
because every single person, I know this from personal experience, when you're single and you have an awareness of The Bachelor, they go, you should go on. And it's kind of a joke. And then I'm sure people said this to you. They hear the Golden Bachelor coming. They go, Gerry, you should go on. But there's got to be a point. What was dating like before this existed?
So it was a real surge of stop and go traffic. I'd have a couple of dates and things would seem to go well, and then I would find a red flag with someone, and I'd start all over. And so I had a number of first and second dates. So one of my rules, I would never just do one date because I always felt like somebody could be nervous, whether it was me or the other person, and maybe the first date didn't portray their best foot forward. So I'd always at least have a second date. And, for one reason or another, those relationships didn't bloom, they didn't flourish.
Right.
And so, I kept
What?
trying. I was not going to give up on it.
I mean, I think that's great. I'm really excited for the show. Do you feel like, I mean, I'm sure you've heard this. I'm sure you've heard this sort of stereotype before that people who go on The Bachelor, like the regular Bachelor, maybe are looking for internet fame or something like that, or trying to start a career off of being on The Bachelor. Do you feel like because maybe the people that are on the Golden Bachelor are a little more established, already have a career, already in that? Do you feel like there's less of that here for the wrong reasons kind of thing? Like, I don't know, are these women trying to be the Bachelorette?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on any of that. I don't think anybody really cared a whole lot about starting a podcast or writing a book or creating followers to be an influencer. If there is some of that out there, I'd be surprised, and I wasn't aware of it. I think genuinely at the age of all the women that were there, whether they were 60 or 75, that was the age range.
Mm-hmm.
They were all there to find their partner, their person. They wanted to find romance, and the rest of it was unimportant, inconsequential.
You mentioned your red flags on the first or second date. What were they? Do you have an example?
Yeah, a woman who wanted to talk about how we structure our wills on the second date. That was a big red
Fair.
flag.
Yeah.
Another one of the red flags that I think is kind of humorous is I sort of had a couple of rules, and they had to be age appropriate, so 60 and above,
Yeah.
and they had to
Okay.
live within 50 miles of me. And I broke that rule once, and I went to the person's house. And when she walked out the front door, I noticed that she looked quite different than her picture.
Mm.
And so when I asked her, she goes, "Oh, yeah, that's my sister. She's 5 years younger than me." So I had driven to meet someone I hadn't even seen an actual picture of.
How far away were they?
It was about 80 miles, 90 miles.
80. Well, in the Midwest, that's right next door.
Wait,
So,
so this person lied about their age to make themselves older or younger?
Well, actually, they were on a dating website and they put their sister's picture on the dating website.
Oh, okay. That's so strange. Why would one do that?
I guess they were
To
like,
get their foot in the door.
right.
I guess,
They
yeah.
wanted to get someone to drive 80 miles. They're like, my sister puts people in the car, I guess.
I guess catfishing has no age.
Right.
No, I was going to say I did buy her dinner and we had a nice conversation before I left, though. So,
Oh wow, you sound like
wasn't-
such a gentleman.
Thank you.
I mean, at the time, like the lake, again, the world is so small when you're trying to meet someone around you. You go on this show, the world opens up. What was that like for you? You're not dating someone in Indiana anymore.
Yeah, that's a good question. That was a big revelation because I felt like I needed to shift gears a little bit between East Coast culture and
Mm-hmm.
West Coast culture and a more Midwest point of view and so forth.
Right.
So that was a very interesting study for me, is realizing that at the core everyone is the same, but on the outside how we get to certain things is different.
I think that's a great way to put it. Like I travel the country for stand up, and my mom's from the Midwest, my dad's from the Northeast. My mom's side of the family reminds me of Gerry. You know,
Yeah.
like you just your temperament. And you go do shows in the Midwest. I remember in Detroit, everyone in the crowd, purse on their lap, a little bit more closed off. And then you go Northeast, it's like they're throwing the purses at you. You know, it's a little, it changes. And you go to you go down to Delray and hang out on Atlantic Avenue. That woman's gonna scream right in your face. And you go meet someone in California, they're gonna tell you about, your star map. It could be, and again,
Right.
I think what Gary says is so important. That's all beginning stuff.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know what I particularly love about The Golden Bachelor is, usually The Bachelor or The Bachelorette comes off a previous franchise or a previous season of one of the shows, and so it's sort of like whatever the pick is from them, you pick like maybe the most liked character. You are the first time, almost maybe since the very beginning of The Bachelor, where you were scouted from everyone, right?
A countrywide search.
Which means you must be very, very likable.
Well, I would hope, because
Yeah.
then that would mean that the viewership of the show will go up.
A true
so I
catch.
appreciate that.
Look at Gary's all big. He's Hollywood already. He's looking at ratings.
It does remind me of one thing, though. My daughter started referring to me as the OG, right?
Okay.
And I thought OG stood for original guy, and then
No, a little different.
yeah, a little different.
Yeah.
And then I heard someone say something about a woman who was an OG, and I go, oh, I guess it must be original gal too. And then I realized what it actually meant. So
You are the OG of
Yes.
Golden Bachelor.
yes, the OG of the Golden Bachelors.
Amazing. We're going to play a game. We talked about red flags earlier, okay? So we play a game on the podcast called Red Flag Deal Breaker. This is going to be a little different. It's going to be red flag, green flag, golden flag. So we're going to give you 3 different scenarios and 3 different types of people you'd be on a date with, okay? One is a red flag, one's a green flag, it's a go. One is a golden flag, a cherishable, this I got to hold on to.
Big yes.
Big yes. Are you
Yes.
ready?
Sure, this sounds like fun.
All right.
Okay. So here are the 3 things. 1, she's never worked a day in her life. 2, she wants to work every day for the rest of her life. 3, she's a career student and habitually goes back to college to pursue various degrees. Red flag,
Oh my
green flag,
God.
gold flag.
We didn't say this was going to be easy, Gary.
Oh no, that sounds like about 3 red flags. But I think the first one would be my red flag.
Never worked a day in her life. You want someone who's career person, has a background in something. What if I guess it'd be. I don't mean to be insulting, but what if someone's just been a housewife their whole life? This is a possibility.
That's a job.
That's
Yeah,
a job.
that's a
Okay,
job.
that was
Yeah,
a
that's a
test,
job.
Gary. I was trying to cancel you. I was trying to get you canceled. You passed the test. You've been through some
Thanks.
PR training.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of respect for the person who carries their own weight, and
Right.
certainly being a housewife or a house husband is a lot of work.
What if someone says they're a cat mom but never worked a day in their life? Is that considered a job?
What's a cat? Oh, you mean a cat
Mom of a cat.
They're a stay-at-home cat mom.
Yeah.
Stay-at-home cat mom.
And they've never worked a day in their life.
Right. But they've worked for they've kept a home for
They
the
changed
cat.
the litter.
Yeah.
That's got to be a red flag for me.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay. So which one is the gold flag? I guess none.
Of the choices that you've presented me, if
Hmm.
we're playing strictly by the rules,
That's how we play, Gary.
yeah, I get it. I get it. I think the third option would be the gold, and the second option the green.
So going
Okay.
to school, a career student would be the gold flag.
At least they're trying to better themselves.
Right.
Right.
Great answer.
Yeah.
This guy's good.
That's
I'm
great.
telling you,
that's
Gary.
that's basically just saying they have like a hobby
Right.
of like learning.
And you're going to be refreshed.
Yeah.
That every few months you get a new thing that they're getting into.
And if it's you would be like, and they're like away from me.
Right, you go off to school,
Yeah.
and then maybe they'll become a chef. You come back, or maybe they become something with plants, and you learn about plants.
Yeah.
You get a whole.
No, I agree. I agree with Gary that it's better to want to work every day for the rest of your life than never work a day in your life.
I no, I'm on the opposite side of this.
Really?
If I'm, golden flag is never worked a day in their life because that means they didn't have to. That means I'm that will conversation. We don't have to have that conversation. I'm in prenup town, which means there might be a small payout.
To make this gender stereotype, that's what I would think from number 2.
Right, work every day.
Yeah, now I don't have to work every day.
Right, and they're off.
Right, career student, to me, it might be the worst one, I guess, right?
To me, career students, because there's no one that thinks they live in reality but lives in unreality more than someone who's never left school. That's the problem I have. Now I'm becoming a lawyer. It's like, oh, okay, you just don't want to get a job. You just don't want to have to deal with failure.
Never worked a day in your life and the career student are kind of similar. I guess in that way.
A little bit, but I understand where Gary gave
Gary knows what to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Gave the good answer. Gary, how's your name spelled Gerry?
Yeah. Can you explain that?
Yeah. Well, the way my mom explained it to me many, many years ago was that the Irish descendant of our family spelled Gerry in the old country in Ireland, Gerry, that it's the Irish spelling of the name Gerry.
Okay, this makes sense. I thought it was like one of those, like every town in Indiana that's like named after like Ohio and Pennsylvania. All those towns that are named after like European cities are now like mispronounced European cities.
Oh, that makes
sense. You notice that?
That's
like, yeah.
Does that get tough at like a restaurant if someone calls your name wrong, or you're fine with it?
No, I've been fine with it ever since early years of grade school. The nuns used to tell me my name was Gerry, and if I disagreed with them, I got whacked on the knuckles. So
oh, wow.
Ever since, it's fine. I'm not in the least bit sensitive about it.
Gary, you're a pleasure. I'm excited to watch you this season. This is like such a pleasure. This is you're a true celebrity to us.
Yeah,
this is really.
And this show is all about love. I love love at any age. It's amazing.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate everything you're saying. This has been fun.
Well, I have one last question. What was your greatest frustration with being single? Because this is a dating advice podcast. We have people that write in with their frustrations. I have talked at length about the little things that annoyed me. What annoyed you or about being a single guy who obviously was on dating websites via the catfishing story? Obviously, I'm sure you went through setups and you went through first dates and second dates. What was the thing that was like was your kind of frivolous annoyance with the process?
Yeah, okay, 2 things come to mind. The first is that around the lake there were many card clubs, and I love to play euchre, and I never had a partner.
This is the most Midwest sentence I've ever heard in my entire life. I love to play euchre with my friends from around the lake.
Yes, you got it right. So I was excluded from all the card games. I didn't have my partner. And the second frustration is that every time I would cook for myself and get a package of pre-made burgers or pre-made pork patties or whatever the case may be, it always came in packages of 4. And it's like I would have to thaw and cook 4 of them, only to realize that it was just me eating, and half of it at least would get thrown away, or half of it at least would be leftovers that I would dread eating the next day.
Gary,
you are going to kill it. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, I'm not age qualified to have gone on your season and married, but otherwise, that's a perfect anser. That
Gary,
is like
you are coached up to the wildest degree. It's like a stars are just like us moment.
Yeah.
70-year-old single people are depressing just like us.
No, I think that's the sweetest.
There's just too much food, and I put on a plate.
That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
I agree.
It's like a rom-com. That's like right out of a rom-com. That's amazing.
Right. We got to set you up with like a promo code for one of those meal kit services. Those
for one. No. Well, hopefully you found a +1 to who also likes the patties or whatever.
Right, and knows how to play euchre.
Yeah, that would be great. And you're not going to get any more out of me on what happens at the end than that.
No, I'm not going to tell. We're not going to say a word. No, this is. I think it's fantastically relatable because there are people out there. As you age, I think the more you age in the dating world, the more you're kind of left out of a couple of things. You know, you're out of the couples experience. You're out of the, Gerry doesn't want to come. He's at his singles rave on the other side of the lake. You know, like there's the assumption that you're out clubbing now, but you'd like to be at the euchre game.
Yeah.
I love it.
I want to be at the euchre game.
What is
I want to
euchre?
be at the Christmas white elephant gift exchange, and I don't want to go
Right.
by myself.
Oh.
Gerry, you're going to bring tears to our eyes. I'm so happy you've probably found someone. We're sure that everything is for the best at the end of this show, but we don't know any of the answers yet. We want everyone to go watch The Golden Bachelor.
I'm going to be tuning in. Everyone I know is very excited for this show. So, and you seem great. So I'm sure it's going to be an amazing season.
Hey, thanks for that. And I would hope that I get to talk to you guys again after the season has been aired.
Oh yeah, we
Because
want all the tea.
I would love this conversation where I could be completely revealing
Sure.
to you and give you some of the behind the scenes secrets. I think you guys would be a hoot.
Oh,
Amazing.
I want to hear, Gerry, you don't even know. You're going to be hearing from me every week.
You're on. Are you on top of your Instagram? Because you might see it. If you have to lower the volume on your phone,
Right.
You come across his Instagram stories.
Okay.
I'll be talking about you every week, Gerry. I'm going to know you better than I know myself by the end of the season.
All right. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll have you back after to talk some shit. I can't
Absolutely.
wait.
Good. I look
All right.
forward to that.
Thank you, Gerry. You're the
Thanks
best.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that was so much fun with Gerry. What a blast. We solved dating again, right, Jordan?
That was awesome. And we'll be back again on Sunday with a Sunday special. The You Up podcast is produced by Jorge Morales-Pico, Sean Kilby, and Candice Maniga. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico and Shannon Sassone. Social media by Candice Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. Be sure to follow at you.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.